In episode number 20 of Roots of Humanity, I speak with Mohammad Sabaaneh about Palestine. What was it like to spend 6 months in an Israeli jail as a Palestinian? How did cartooning help Mohammad cope?
I need to use the art as a tool of therapy inside the prison because I was alone.
And what is the political cartoon movement sweeping the Palestinian diaspora? From the West Bank, Mohammad is at the forefront of this movement, translating headlines into lived experiences through art. Today, I reflect on my own time in Palestine while Mohammad shares how things have changed from Ramallah to Gaza and how he needs permission to visit Jerusalem. We talk about fasting, food, the similarities between Jews and Muslims. In the end, we come to the same conclusion. Enough with all the labels. We are all just human. And together as one, may we find peace. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get into it. Mohammad, what's going on, man?
Well, how are you?
Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm going later to Kuwait, and I gotta practice my Arabic, you know?
Yeah, I was born in Kuwait actually in 1979.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're born in Kuwait. Cool. Nice. And how long have you been living in Palestine?
Around 20 years now, more than maybe 22 in Palestine.
Where did you live before that? Kuwait or a different country?
Kuwait, Jordan, and then now I'm in Palestine, in Ramallah.
Ramallah. Let's just jump into Palestine. So I've been to Israel, Palestine 4 times. The last time I was there was 2017, and I went on a co-guided tour of Jerusalem with an Israeli Jew and a Palestinian Muslim. They were friends, and they're both tour guides, and both of them gave me a tour. So the Jewish guy would take me to a synagogue and tell me about how he grew up in Jerusalem and in this neighborhood. And then the Palestinian guy would take me to the mosque that he grew up praying in and his community and the different markets. And then we went to Ramallah, and that was amazing. I really, really loved Ramallah. I loved the food. I loved the history and the architecture. So tell me about what it's like to live in Ramallah these days.
Actually, these days it's not complicated like 2013, 2014,
Yeah.
and all of that period of time. The situation is calm in Ramallah. Actually, it's not easy to live in the West Bank because the situation is not stable. In any time you will have many checkpoints around Ramallah, around the Palestinian city. That's mean it's not something stable. Now it's good for just now it's good. Last night,
Yeah.
just in 10 o'clock because my family from Jenin, not from Ramallah. Just at 10 p.m. the Israeli forces get into Jenin city and killed Palestinian teenager, and arrested another Palestinian. That's mean it's something just minute by minute. You cannot say that this is a stable situation or non-stable situation at all. It's depend.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I know the struggles there, and I feel so bad that people are being killed in that land. It's terrible. Do you ever go to Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, or do you just stay in the West Bank?
Actually, just recently I got a permission from the Israeli medical permission. Actually, one of my friends brought me a medical permission as an excuse to visit Jerusalem, and I've been there just for one day, and that was the first time for me in Jerusalem, inside Jerusalem. I've been there in 2013, and that was the second one. The first one I jumped in from by the Israeli wall to Jerusalem. That time I get into Jerusalem, but just in the city. I didn't go to the mosque because that was very dangerous without permission. I climbed the Israeli wall, I get into the British embassy in Jerusalem to get visa to the UK. But recently I get into the Jerusalem Al-Aqsa Mosque and all of that area because I got that permission. And that's the situation for all the Palestinian people. They cannot get into Jerusalem without permission, actually. Even you have mentioned that you have a friend Muslim from Jerusalem, and he gave you a tour in inside that city to tell you about his history inside the city and his life inside Jerusalem. But many of Palestinian people, they cannot get into Jerusalem because they need Israeli permission.
Sure. What did you think about Jerusalem when you went there?
It's amazing, actually. I like Jerusalem. I love Jerusalem. Most of the Palestinian, when someone prevent you to visit a place, you will imagine that this is the paradise, not just a city. And that's exactly what I felt inside Jerusalem. I hope that I will visit it again. I don't know if I will get another permission, maybe another medical permission to get into Jerusalem or to climb the Israeli wall again to visit Jerusalem. But I think most most of the people around the world, when they hear about Jerusalem, they wish that they can visit it. But it's very difficult because it's just far away from my home, just less than 20 kilometers to get into Jerusalem. In 2010, actually, I had invitation from State Department to visit United States. And at that time, the American embassy was just a consulate in Jerusalem, and they asked a permission for me to go to the American consulate to get visa to United States. And even the Israeli government refused that invitation from the American consulate in Jerusalem to make this interview for the visa. And that was actually very hard because my friend in that consulate, she told me that you will visit Jerusalem to go to United States. I told her that would be great to get a photo in front of the Al-Aqsa Mosque. It would be one of the most important things during my visit to United States because it's part from my visit, but they prevented me in 2010 to get into Jerusalem to get that visa.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's terrible. Have you traveled around Palestine, around the West Bank?
Yeah, actually, around West Bank. I lived in Nablus, Beit Lahem. I'm from Jenin. I worked in the Arab American University. It's a private university in Jenin, and now we have another campus in Ramallah. Tul Karem, all the Palestinian city in West Bank. Unfortunately, in Gaza, I haven't been there because it's also need another permission to go there. And to be honest with you, because also I criticized the political faction in Gaza, I feel that it's not safe for me to visit Gaza. But I hope one day I will also visit Gaza.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
I also want to visit Gaza. I think that would be really cool, but it's difficult for me because I'm Jewish and it's almost impossible, I think.
I think we have, even the people in Gaza, they don't have problem with Jews. I have a lot of Jewish friends from the United States, from Nablus also we have Jewish, and many of them, they are our friends. I have many friends from United States that are Jewish, from the UK,
Yeah.
from around the world. We don't have problem with religions, actually.
I've been to every country in the world. I've been to every Muslim country, all of them, in Africa and Middle East and Arab world. And I've realized that Judaism and Islam are so similar. They have like the same traditions. They have the same food, the same culture. They both wear the hats on top of their heads. They both have a Friday prayer. In Ramadan, you fast. We also fast on the Yom Kippur holiday.
Actually, I fasted with Jews while I was in the Israeli cell.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were fasting, and I had to fast with them.
And the hospitality of Jews and Muslims are so amazing. And, there's so many similarities between the two religions, and it's really terrible, all the things that you're telling me, that you can't even go to Jerusalem because you need to have a permission from the Israeli government. You couldn't get the visa for America because you couldn't enter the consulate. It's really a shame. Obviously, the situation is extremely complex and detailed, and we don't have 5 hours to talk about it. And even if we did, I don't even know enough to talk about it. But all I can say is that Jews and Muslims are very similar people. Many of my best friends are Muslim. Like maybe 5 or 6 of my good friends are all Muslim. And, growing up, when I went to Hebrew school in America, they teach us things about Islam that is not so good, and as a kid it makes you think bad things about Islam. But then when I go to countries like Sudan and Morocco and Kuwait and Palestine, I realize that they're just amazing people. So that's just my thoughts on Muslims in general, and have spent about 1.5 years of my life in Muslim countries. So I love it, man, and hopefully I can see many more. So
you are welcome anytime.
Thanks, man.
You have to go to Jordan also.
Jordan, I love Jordan.
Yeah, I love Jordan. I've been in Jordan for 7 years, and many of the Jordanian citizens, originally they are Palestinian, who they were expelled from Palestine in 1948 and 1967. And I have a lot of relatives in Jordan. Actually, I have Jordanian passport. That's why when I came to the United States in 2015, I went to Jordan because I could not get into Jerusalem to get the visa from the American embassy in Amman, not in Jerusalem. And yeah, you should visit Jordan. It's amazing country.
I like Jordan, man. Have you been to Petra?
I haven't been there actually, but I will. Maybe I will go with my kids.
Let's talk a little bit about your work. So how did you you're a cartoonist. How did that start? When you were living in Jordan, or how did you get inspired to start drawing?
Actually, I don't know if your audience know about Naji Al-Ali. Naji Al-Ali, he's one of the most important cartoonists around the world. He was assassinated in 1987 in London because of his artwork. And most of the Palestinian people, they admire Naji Al-Ali. And while I was living in Kuwait, my mother used to use his art as a tool to tell me about the situation in Palestine and to tell me about our narrative through Naji Al-Ali cartoon. Then I left Kuwait in 1991 after the first Gulf War. I moved to Jordan, and there in Jordan, because they don't have very good art and culture in the school. One of my friends, he was a portrait artist. He used to work as a portrait artist, and he taught me something about the portraits and all of these things. But at that time, I've decided that I need to be a cartoonist, political cartoonist. I finished my high school in Jordan, then moved to Palestine. My bachelor degree was during the second Intifada in the West Bank, and our situation here was very hard. You cannot travel outside Nablus, outside your universities. Most of my friends and my colleagues were killed by the Israeli soldiers and were arrested by the Israeli government. And that's why I felt that I need a kind of art that I can represent all of these issues and to talk about all of my friends and my family, then my people. One of my friends was killed at the first day on the second Intifada. That's what bring me into this kind of art. We need art that it can be used as a resistance art to convey this suffering for my people and my friends. And that's how I started doing my daily cartoon. I did a lot of exhibition inside Al-Najah University, where I got my bachelor degree. And then when I graduated from that university, I started work with daily newspaper called Al-Hayya Al-Jadida here in the West Bank. And that was a great chance for me as a cartoonist to find a daily newspaper that is publishing your cartoons. And then I participated in a lot of international exhibition. I have my solo exhibition around the world. Published my first book in 2017 in United States of America, and then my book was translated into the Spanish, Catalani. My second book, actually, I like this one is comics also, and you can consider this one the first Palestinian comics. Also, it was published last year in the United States of America with the Street Noise publisher. And now I had this contract with the French publisher that I will translate this book into the French language. Maybe also I will publish it in Arabic language, maybe self-publishing here in Palestine. I'll try to send some copies around the Arab world. This is my short story, actually. My first book, I've started the idea for my first book inside the Israeli prison, actually in 2013, while I was inside the Israeli prison. I decided that
You were in prison?
Yeah, I went to the Israeli prison for 6 months.
Why?
Ask the Israeli. That's ironic because, most of the people, they ask me, why the Israeli arrest you? Ask the Israeli. Ask the Israeli why they are arresting my people, why they are occupying my land. To answer this question, they claim that I have some activity against Israel, against their government. And surely I have. I am Palestinian.
Did they see your artwork and then they knocked on your door and arrested you, or what happened?
Actually, they have during the interrogation they have asked me about some of my artwork. Yeah, but then they put me for 6 months inside the Israeli prison. And during that time, I've decided, because it was very hard time inside the Israeli prison, I've decided that I need to use the art as a tool of therapy inside the prison, because I was alone in solitary confinement. And that's how I started the idea for my first book, that I need to do some cartoon about the Palestinian prisoner, about the life inside the prison, and to spend all of that time just thinking about the ideas, the artworks, how exactly I will publish all of these artworks and cartoons, how I will smuggle all of this artwork from inside the prison into my newspaper or my friends to collect all of this cartoon and then print them in a book or do exhibition. That took a lot of time inside the prison. I've invested my time inside the Israeli prison just thinking about all of these issues and how I facilitate all of these kind of things and problems.
When they arrested you, did you know that you were going to prison for 6 months, or you had no idea?
No one know exactly what is his destiny inside the Israeli prison. They didn't give you any information, anything. They just give you took you to take you to the Israeli interrogation center, and I've spent around 50 days inside that interrogation center, just asking me, interrogating me, without telling me or give me any indicator that I will spend 6 months, 1 year, 10 year. No one know actually, and they don't give you any information. I haven't seen any lawyers for more than 3 weeks actually while I was inside the Israeli interrogation center. Actually, I've seen my lawyer after 1 month at that time, and he told me, I'm not sure how much you will spend inside the prison, and this kind of like they are torturing you because you don't know anything actually.
How do they treat you in the prison?
Actually, inside the interrogation center was very bad because that was very hard time. They just dealing with you as not a human being, just as a criminal, as someone who is coming here as a terrorist, not a human being actually. And that was very hard time. Inside the prison, it's different because you will spend most of your time with the Palestinian prisoners who they are inside the Israeli prison. You don't deal with the prison, with the jailers or all of these people. Just inside the interrogation center, it was very hard.
Wow. And how do you think you changed as a person, like in those 6 months?
Actually, to be honest with you, I don't need to give this prison any credit. Yes, I spent 6 years inside that prison. Think about my art, my artwork, my future, about how exactly I depict the Palestinian people, how exactly I do my cartoon. But I don't need to give this prison any accreditation or any privilege. That time, how I invested my time in that prison to resist all of these condition inside the prison. That exactly what changed me. I've started to think about the Palestinian people as a human being more than heroes. Most of the Palestinian cartoonists and visual artists, they prefer to deal with the prisoners, to depict them as a heroes. It's not like a fictional thing. But I thought that no, I need to change my perspective, to start talk about the Palestinian people as a human being, to talk about their real condition. And that does not change the idea that all of these prisoners who they are resisting and surviving inside the prison, that they are heroes. But we need to convey their suffering inside the prison. We need to convey our suffering as a Palestinian for the people around the world. We resist as a result of this occupation. We resist to back and to live back as a human being, as a normal human being, not because we need to be heroes, not because we need to be fighters or resistance. I'm a cartoonist. I hope that one day that I will do cartoon not about the occupation, about something else, about the human right, about the environment, about all of these issues. But I cannot talk about all of these issues while I live under this occupation, while I'm crossing these Israeli checkpoint every day, while I'm facing all of these atrocity from this occupation. I think most of the Palestinian artists, most of the Palestinian writers, they need to change their topics. They need to find out how exactly they can be engaged with all of the international issues like as a climate change or anything else. But no one can do that because we have very bad situation here in Palestine. You've been here in 2017. I think it wasn't bad like 2010 or 2004 during the second Intifada. But while you traveled between Palestine between Jerusalem and Ramallah, you faced Kalandia checkpoint or another checkpoint. I don't know exactly from where you came to Ramallah, and you have seen the Israeli war. You have seen, and maybe because you are American citizen, they will treat you as a tourist. But as a Palestinian, if I want to cross that checkpoint, they have to search me for more than 3 or 4 times. That's why our situation it's very bad. And if I want to be honest with you, even you are traveling between maybe Jerusalem and Ramallah, but if you travel from Ramallah to Jenin, which considered under the international law as a part from the Palestinian state, as a part from Palestinian land, you have to cross through three Israeli checkpoints. That's mean even if you are traveling inside the area which considered under the international law as a Palestinian area, you have to cross all of these Israeli checkpoints, all of these to face all of these walls, and nowadays also some Israeli settlers around Nablus, they are very extremist. They maybe will throw a stone to your car or damage your car. Maybe they will attack you. One of my colleague here in this university, she is the dean of the media college. She was attacked by Israeli settler while she was traveling between Ramallah and Nablus. That means it's not safe, but this is our situation.
Do you have any Israeli Jewish friends?
Israeli Jewish friend, actually, unfortunately, no. I have some connections with some Israeli cartoonists. I cannot claim that they are my friends. Maybe just because we are cartoonists. I don't prefer actually to use Jewish. I prefer Zionist to use. I have just talked with one Zionist, Israeli Zionist, was my interrogator actually. I have a lot of Jewish around the world and inside Palestine, and they are my friend. But Israeli Zionist, no, I don't have any friends. And to be honest with you, I don't need to have a friend from them. If they stand with us as a Palestinian and stand with our human rights, maybe then I will have friends.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it, man. Let's change gears a little bit and talk about the culture and the food of Palestine. What is your favorite food dish that you have in Palestine?
In Palestine, ملوخية.
Malokhia, yeah, of course.
Do you like ملوخية?
I love it, man. What about like the hummus and the falafel? You have good there?
Yeah, we have hummus and falafel, and in Jordan actually it's very popular hummus and falafel, and they like hummus and falafel. But actually, the main Palestinian food that I love the ملوخية. It's very delicious. I don't know if you try it or not, but I like it.
I haven't tried the one in Palestine. I'm sure it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
How many other cartoonists are in Palestine?
In Palestine, it's actually it's very difficult to talk about that or to give you a number, because here in West Bank we are around four cartoonists. In Gaza there are more than 6 cartoonists from Gaza, but there are many Palestinian cartoonists around the world now. In Jordan we have more than 20 cartoonists. Originally they are Palestinian. In Swedish we have 2 or 3 cartoonists. In Qatar we have 1 cartoonist. Also in Australia we have another Palestinian cartoonist. In United States we have a friend, Layla Abdelrazik. Also she's a comics artist. She has published her first comics also in United States of America. But inside Palestine, or we cannot say that we have just 10 or 20, because I don't know if we can consider all of these cartoonists who they are originally Palestinian as a Palestinian cartoonist or not right now, because some of them, they have citizenship in another country. They spend all of their life in United States or in United States of America or in European country.
Have you ever collaborated with them, or do you do art together?
Always we have done many exhibition, and not just the Palestinian cartoonists from around the world. I've just announced last week about an exhibition that will be we will do in Palestine about Shireen Abu Akleh, the Palestinian journalist who was killed by the Israeli soldier 2 months ago. And I've invited the cartoonists from around the world to participate, and many cartoonists actually from around the world, from the UK, Spain, Italy, France, and Palestinian cartoonists from around the world. They've sent me their cartoons about freedom of speech and Shireen Abu Akleh. Also, we have project to do exhibition, activity, even inside Palestine or outside Palestine.
Are you worried that your future drawings will be more problematic with the Israeli government? Or are you not worried about that?
Actually, now it's problematic. Now I've just got many threats from the Israeli, from the Palestinian Authority, from some political faction here in Palestine. Always I have problem. Always I have confrontation with political fiction or Israeli government or Palestinian government. But I don't know. This is my role. I cannot quit doing my duty. And to be honest with you, I had many chances to be outside Palestine, to live outside Palestine. But I prefer to get master degree from the UK and travel back to Palestine. Recently I got rejection from the American government to give me visa, They put my application and all of that, I think, because of my cartoon, because I've done exhibition about Trump when he relocated the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. That was, I think, 3 years ago. And then this year I applied for visa to United States of America, and they told me, we rejected your visa and we put your application under administrative process. It's looked like administrative detention in the Israeli jail. I don't know what exactly they meant with that. But yeah, always I have problem. Always I had problem, and I will have problem. I know that, and that's our duty as a cartoonist. All the cartoonists from around the world, they have problem, and just because I'm the representative of Cartoonist Network International, right? It's called CRNI. I was monitoring most of the cartoonists around the world and how exactly they face the problem. And many cartoonists from around the world, when they criticized Israel, they will have problem. Antonio Antenas, he's published a cartoon in New York Times, and he had a problem. He was fired from New York Times because he criticized Netanyahu. He was accused as anti-Semitic cartoonist because he just criticized Netanyahu.
I'm sorry to hear about the problems, man. It's your profession is, I guess it can be considered risky by some people because you're always putting statements out there. But I know that it's art and it's something you enjoy and it's your passion. So you should never be having issues for that. What do you think needs to happen for there to be no more problems? Or is it too complex? Is it too stressful of a topic?
Our problem, it's not just I'm talking about the cartoonists from around the world, not just me as a political cartoonist inside Palestine, or talking about the Palestinian issue, but not just the governments, actually, not just the political faction from around the world, and the religious people and all of these people, and also the audience. Sometimes I had many problems because I criticized some political faction from their audience, not just from their leaders. I think it's a problem because the people should understand exactly what the role of the visual artist, not just the cartoonist, and also the comics artists, any kind of visual art. The people should understand that freedom of speech is something unlimited, and I hope it will be unlimited. But we have a lot of restriction, not just because of the political reasons or religions reason, and also the people sometimes they attack you because they don't like your idea or your opinion. From here, I think it's not just about governments. It's about all the people around the world to understand that this kind of art is visual art. The artist just want to convey his opinion to enhance our situation for a human being around the world, and he has mission. Sometimes maybe we do mistakes as a cartoonist. Sometimes we faced problems. Sometimes we have difficulty to convey our ideas. But the people should give all the cartoonists excuse to experiment and to convey and to practice their art.
I agree, man. As I said before, it's a passion. It's like I like playing golf. I'm a golfer. I should never have issues playing golf with anyone. I should be able to freely express my right to play golf. And so I guess because you're a political cartoonist, that's the problem. I guess, as you said earlier, if you just draw about the environment or whatever, there won't be any problems. But I think it's important to voice your opinion. And I'm really sorry for the situation in Palestine. It's, I'm Jewish and I love Muslims. A lot of my best friends are Muslims, and I wish that the situation would be better. So I appreciate you opening up and sharing your story, especially about being thrown in prison. I mean, what year was that? When were you thrown in prison?
In 2013, actually.
That was a stressful year, I think.
Yeah, but my friend, the problem not just I been in the prison in 2013. The problem that this prison did not close. Still, it's opened for us as a Palestinian. The opportunity to be again in that prison, it's like 50-100%. Anytime they can take you to the prison. My brother spent more than 10 years in prison. I have a friend, he's Jews. I don't know why exactly I should, or you should just mentioning that you are Jews, because this kind of label, I don't believe in it. But I have a friend, he's Jews from Nablus. He's spending more than 20 years now inside the prison. His name is Nader, and he was artist, and he was very, very intellectual. And he like you always, he was mentioning that he loved Muslim, he loved people, he's a Palestinian, he's Jewish Palestinian. And that's why I don't believe in all of this kind of labeling. We are a human being, we are just want to live a normal life as a human being, not just labeling ourselves like Muslim, Jews, black, white, all of this kind of label. I don't believe in it. I believe that we are a human being. We should deal with us as a human being, and that's it.
I like that. I really like what you just said, man. And I apologize for keep saying Jews and Muslims. I think you're right. We're all just people. Doesn't matter where you're from or what religion you are or what color you are. We're all humans. We all have to eat and sleep, and we have blood that is red and all that stuff. So
Actually, that's why when you asked me about Israeli Jews friend, I mentioned that Israeli Zionist friends, because I don't have that. Jews, I have many Jews friends. Zionist, I will not have, because this is political movement. This is religion. There, they established all of this settlement in my country. They've put all of these checkpoint. They surrounded me by wall. They put me in the prison. They killed my friends. They arrested my colleague. They arrested my friend, and that's why they've arrested me also. And that's why I don't believe that I can or I should label the people by their religion or by their color or anything. But when the group of people, they are acting against a human being, we should label them, these people, that they should label them. But as Jews or Muslim, we are the same actually.
yeah, that's what my shirt says. We are the same. Mohammed, thank you so much for the conversation. I really appreciated it. How can people find you on social media?
My name is Mohammad Sabaaneh. I have my second book, like the comics in United States. They can get it by Amazon, called Power Born of a Dream. My story is Palestine. Sabaaneh or Sabaaneh, Sabaaneh, in all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all of this kind of platforms.
Thank you so much, man, and I hope to meet you soon in Ramallah. Take care.
Sure, we should meet in Ramallah. And next time you will eat ملوخية.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast episode. If you feel inspired by this conversation, please share it with somebody who would enjoy listening. And if you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Also, don't forget to leave a review. Every week, I'm going to be looking through them and highlighting my favorite one. And with that all being said, I will see you guys next week.